Bienvenue dans ma classe. Je m'appelle Jennifer Roehl. Je suis at Cherry Park Elementary. Come in and see how I do things in here. These are my wonderful students. Dis bonjour. Et ça, c'est mes étudiants virtuels. These are my virtual students. They're on Zoom right now. So what I have, this is our morning time. So what I would do in the morning times is I come in and put Zoom on the board. And then I immediately screen share. So the virtual students know where to go in their Canvas courses. So they go to morning work, and my students in the classroom go to the same place. So we're all on the same page. I can see my virtual students on the Zoom boxes, so that lets me know what they're doing, and if they have any questions, they can either put it in the chat box, which is a great feature on Zoom, which I'm sure you guys know. Or they can unmute and let me know what's going on. So one tool that I've found really helpful and something that I can show you right now is the students in the classroom have documents on Google that they copy. And so the students virtually and my students in the class can work on the same things, but I don't have to do double the work. I can do one slide on Google and have all students copy it. So this is what their current slide looks like. They're working on multiplying numbers. I do have some word problems in English just because I can't really speak the word problem in English, but they can read it, and it really helps with their comprehension in the language. But so the students can type on these boxes, and they have it on their screen. It looks exactly like mine, and the virtual students have it at home. So this is a really great tool. I use Google Slides pretty much all the time. So with the hardware, this is my camera. It's up on the top, and in Zoom, I'm able to see myself and the kids in my classroom at the same time as my kids that are virtual. Initially, I had tried to put a table here with my other laptop on it and kind of film myself from that angle, so from both angles. What I found is it's very complicated for the virtual students to see the board in that capacity, because it's blurry or the lighting doesn't work. And so instead of having my computer here, I just decided to screen share, because really they need to hear me, but they don't necessarily need to see me unless I'm doing some actions and then I just get in front of the camera. What they really need to see is what I'm doing on the board. And so Zoom is a perfect catalyst for that, because I just use it. And I also have Note, which I'm pretty sure everybody has in the district, but Note is... Okay, ça doit arrêter. Note is where I can write on the board, and so I can say something to my virtual students and they can see exactly what I've written. One good thing, and something that you'll want to coach your virtual students on, is being able to tell the difference between when they need to have their share screen up and when they need to navigate away from that page. So middle and high school students, it'll be much easier to explain to them how to toggle between tabs, but it's very important for them to know how to get out of the full screen and go to something else, because I'll often ask them to follow along. So watch what I'm doing and then do what I just did. So that took a little bit of work, but they're finally at that level. So and then my microphone, sometimes I leave on my person if it's charged, and then other times I'll just leave it. I'll actually hook it right here on the cord and just leave it up here, because it's very loud actually. So and I know that because I do plenty of breakout rooms. So I have 19 kids in the classroom, and I have 3 virtual. Currently I actually have 18 and 4, but in special circumstances that could fluctuate, and that might fluctuate for you as well. But when I want to do group activities, the best tool that I use are actually the breakout rooms on Zoom. And so what I would have my students do is, all of my students in class are capable of going to the Zoom that I have on the board. So I have the same ID and password for all my students, virtual and face-to-face. So I would pick a few students to go virtual so that they can be in a breakout room with a virtual student. I mix it up. Sometimes when we had AB days, it was even, so I could do 5 and 5, but now there's a big disparity between the two, so I just choose a couple of students who like to do the breakout rooms. So I have 2 of my students, Lilou and Adziri, who are going to go on to the Zoom. Actually, they've already entered into the Zoom, but I'm going to show you how I would put them in a breakout room. So here I'm screen sharing right now. So I would go here to more and then just click on breakout rooms. So it's going to ask me how I want to put the students into the rooms. I always choose manual so that I can change it. And it just seems a little bit more easy for me. And I can choose as many rooms as I want to. Today I'm just going to choose 2 rooms. So then it will populate this screen here, and I'll click assign. And so if I want to have Adiri, Amelia, and Lilu in the same room to work together, I click on their names, and then I say open all rooms. The students that I haven't chosen to be in a room will remain in the original Zoom room. Normally, all students will have a room. Et vous pouvez aller dans le breakout room. Amelia, va dans le breakout room, s'il vous plaît. Vitement. So it'll turn green right here when the students are in the room, so you can see Amelia is not in there yet, but Adiri and Lilu are. So if we want to go and see what they're doing on their screens, so on Adiri's screen, you can see that she can see clearly Lilu, who's just across the room, and she can see Amelia, who is at home in front of her computer. So what they usually do to do the work and to be on the Zoom, Adiri, est-ce que tu peux nous montrer comment est-ce que tu vas faire ça?
Well, I go to minimize screen right here, and I can just look at whoever's speaking right here. And I click on stuff, and I can just talk about what we're doing, like if I'm doing a project or anything. We talk about like what we're going to put on it, or what type of math problem, or anything else that we have to do.
Et Adiri, est-ce que vous communiquez à l'oral ou dans le chat box?
We unmute and kind of talk, and we talk in French. And if they have problems with their microphone, they just type in the chat, and we can help them in the chat.
Super, merci. And then Lilu can see the same thing on her screen. Lilu and I showed Lilu how to share. She shared screen, but how to split screen. So she can have all 3 videos up at the same time. So Adiri likes to have the small box. And Lilu, tu te souviens comment faire le split screen? Ou non? Donc tu peux regarder ça là. Laisse-moi toucher votre écran. And then, so if we're working in Drive, she can pull this one out and pull it to one side of her screen. And then on the other side, she can have the Zoom. So she can be working simultaneously, speaking to them, seeing all 3 of them, and working in her Drive. Lilo, qu'est-ce que tu penses de faire les breakout rooms? Pourquoi est-ce que tu les aimes?
I like doing the breakout rooms because we can be in them with our friends, and like we could help each other.
Ça c'est bien, merci. So I love this one application called Nearpod. So you can get into Nearpod, you can type it into Google or whatever, and you'll find it almost immediately. So what it basically is it has so many different ways you can interact virtually. So it was created to monitor what your students are doing in the classroom, but I specifically use it as almost a whiteboard feature. So my kids in the classroom have whiteboards. Tiens le tableau blanc dans l'air. Okay, so I use whiteboards all the time. Merci. I use whiteboards with them just to kind of quick check what we're going over, whether it be science or math. And I found that even though I was asking the virtual students to do it on paper and show it to the camera, it was hard for me to see, or it was hard for me to tell them exactly where they went wrong. So what Nearpod allowed me to do is I can create a blank slide if I want to. Sometimes I have a problem, sometimes I have a question. There are polls that you can do, but I mostly use it just to see what they're drawing as far as math goes or science. So this is an example of mine. But they would click on a link. You can put it anywhere in their chat box. You can put it on their Canvas. And you'll be able to see this screen on your board. And so they can actually see what they have too. But it'll pop up with their name on the bottom. So these are 3 of my students who are in. And so when I ask a question, comme, ça c'est ma question, vous êtes prêts? Qu'est-ce que c'est 13 fois 5? Facile. So, les virtuels, dans votre tableau blanc, j'ai besoin que vous faites, oh, j'ai juste fait 15, 13 fois 5. S'il vous plaît, faites ce problème dans votre Nearpod. So, if you look right here, you can see actually, one of my students has started to write the problem in their whiteboard, and I can see it clearly. And then if I turn around, I can see all the students in my classroom who are also doing the same problem. So it's a really awesome way for me to quick check what the virtual students are doing, as well as the students in the classroom. And like I said, Nearpod has many more things that you can use. I would just check it out. It is free, so if you go in, they have tons of features that are free. Merci, je le vois, super, c'est 65, bien. But the features are free, and you can get a paid service, but I just use the free one. It also allows you to send them home with homework. So in case you can't see the virtual students work on paper, you can have them do it on Nearpod. And it also gives you the option not just to write, but I don't know if you can see sorry, I don't know if I can see him. See him right here? He has 13 times 5. He's typed it rather than writing it. So that's always an option for them. I love this app. It's wonderful to use. And it's like up there with Google for me.